When it comes to scary UFC fighters, at least for me, one man comes to mind. Rampage Jackson. He's the former UFC light heavyweight champion, a true knockout artist, and one seriously aggressive man.
And I started stumping him in his face because he was still down there. And my boy Big Perm, thank God, he pulled me off of him before I killed him.
If there's a list of UFC fighters you wouldn't want to have a street fight with, Rampage would be right at the top. But that said, whether it was his old bullies, drunk guys in bars, or literally guillotining his own son, some people just mess with the wrong guy. And they always regret their choices once the situation escalates. So these are the times when strangers thought they could fight Quentin Rampage Jackson. If you don't know, Rampage does regular lifestyle streams on Kick, and in one particular case was him out late at a bar. Everything was normal, when all of a sudden his cameraman supposedly got pushed.
Okay, here you are, talking to some young ladies, putting some makeup on, chapstick. Oh!
Hey, come here. Did you just push him?
And if you know anything about Rampage Jackson, he hates bullies or when someone is physically provoked.
If I feel like I'm in a right, you know what I'm saying, I go to war for somebody. I don't like people fucking with my friends, my family, my kids. You know, somebody can push me, I'll be like, oh, okay, whatever, get the fuck out. But I don't like bullies. I don't like bullies. Despite what people think about me, like I don't consider people making fun of somebody else a bully. I consider people doing bodily harm, you know, physically touching someone. I figure that they're bullies, and I don't like people like that.
So, in response to his camera guy getting pushed, Rampage scared this guy senseless.
Hey, come here. Did you just push him?
Yeah, he pushed me.
What?
He pushed me.
Hey, he got the f***ing camera. He didn't push you.
All right.
Get the fuck out of here if I f*** you up. I watched everything. You a hey, don't you ever touch my f***ing camera, man.
You can do that.
Guess what? He pushed this guy for no reason.
No, he didn't.
I saw everything. It's on f***ing camera. It's on f***ing camera. It's on f***ing camera. It's on f***ing camera.
It turns out that the two girls earlier in the clip were apparently flirting with the camera guy. Rampage's cameraman told them he has a partner and to leave him alone, and the guy that pushed him was probably a jealous friend of the girls.
He was like, oh, get away from me. I got a girlfriend. Get away from me. Get away from me. And I heard him, and the show must go on because my stream, I just like to entertain people, and I was there doing my thing, and then I saw this one dude, I guess he was with those girls. He came by, and he just football hit my cameraman. He joked really, really bad, and my cameraman, he's not a big dude. And I saw it, and I wanted him to get the fuck out of there. And I go to that place sometime, and the security know me. I don't cause problems, bro. I don't cause problems where I go. So I don't play with it, bro.
At the time, I'm sure that guy had no idea he just pissed off one of the most frightening fighters in UFC history. Thankfully for him, he only got a little roughed up and pushed out the bar, because it could have ended a whole lot worse, just like it did for this guy who stupidly used the N-word towards Rampage Jackson.
He jabbed me in the mouth with the phone, and I tried to kill him. And his mom heard everything.
It was back when Rampage was at college. At the time, he wasn't a fighter, just a wrestler. And after accidentally getting locked out of his dorm, Rampage had some serious beef with this guy who was both racist and physical.
One of my teammates was racist, and he hit me in the mouth with a payphone receiver. One time we were smoking weed in the room. I saw hitting the joint, and he looked at me, he said, Rampage, you got some lips.
Then later on, the guy again confronted Rampage.
I'm beating on the door trying to get in, and she in the bathroom. I didn't know what was going on because we had connecting bathrooms, and no dudes there. They didn't have no just so everybody trying to swarm on a dude. The girl was there. I thought one of my teammates trying to smash my chick because that's what happens. That's what happens. I ain't gonna lie. So I'm beating on my door like, what the f*** take you so long to open the door? You were just on the bed. Anyway, this guy called from around the corner. He was like, don't you see I'm on the phone?
And while Rampage may have been a different guy at college, he was able to let the racist statement go. But once the guy punched him in the jaw with a phone, Rampage saw red.
He hit me in the mouth with the payphone, and I tried to kill him. And it was in a corner. It was blood everywhere. There was blood everywhere. Then I looked in the mirror and I saw my lip open. This is what sent me to jail. I went back and I started stumping him in his face because he was still down there. And my boy Big Perm, thank God, he pulled me off of him before I killed him.
Bear in mind some of the brutal knockouts Rampage has delivered. For him to say he's never beaten up anyone worse than this guy in his entire life, that's some seriously strong words. Funnily enough, if you check Jackson's Wikipedia page, it says he was kicked out of college for fighting with a teammate. And I don't need to be a genius to put 2 and 2 together and say this was probably the beating that got him expelled from college. But from a random college fight to the recent time that Rampage Jackson almost came to blows with an active UFC fighter on his podcast.
And then, Rampage left a little comment on Instagram, which I originally thought was funny, but then I understand where you were coming from.
I understand where
you
you're
were
coming
fighting MVP. You did this to MVP, which I thought it was a great move. Hyped up the fight. Rampage made a joke on Instagram, and then Kevin FaceTimed me and said, yo, if I come there, I got to fight. I said, Kevin, we can't do all that. Then we'll just have to reschedule.
Much like the former light heavyweight champion, Kevin Holland is an unapologetic, outspoken fighter who doesn't mind insulting someone for a joke. So with the two together, they were either going to be best pals or their egos were going to kick in. And unfortunately, it was the latter. The drama stems from the fact that Rampage Jackson made a joke about how Kevin Holland grabbed MVP's hand in their face-off.
Because I love you, but I'm a fan of Kevin Holland. I love the way he talks loud.
I'm a fan of his too, but I know, hey, I know everybody ain't my sense of humor ain't for everybody. So,
but you did this to him. It wasn't needed. I feel like you owe him an apology. He drove 3 hours.
Listen, we already talked about it on the FaceTime. You know what I'm saying? I like to joke around. I don't mean nothing personal with nobody. That's me. That's my sense of humor. Everybody ain't like me and everybody ain't like you. If people, I've learned throughout my life, if people don't like my sense of humor,
Maybe it was the comment itself, the fact Holland lost in a pretty embarrassing way, or something else entirely, but he wasn't a fan of Rampage's joke or his attitude.
Kevin, you could probably appreciate that attitude.
I mean, I guess, in a sense, you know what I mean? It just doesn't work like that for Kev.
Why?
It's usually, if you say fuck it to me, it's usually fuck you, so.
Well, I didn't say fuck you. I said fuck it.
Yeah, that's what I said. If you say fuck it to me, I usually say fuck
well,
you.
Fuck you too. I don't give a fuck.
And then it's F it, and then it's F
hey,
you.
Bro,
I like that.
Yeah.
Bro, I got no problem with this cat.
Yeah,
but,
I love that.
But you know what I'm saying? I'm going to beat me whether he like it or not.
The two tried to reconcile on Rampage's podcast, but there was still some serious tension in the air.
I play with everybody.
Yeah.
I play with everybody. People troll me. I troll people. It's like the world we live in. It's social media.
Yeah, but I don't really troll people until they troll me.
Well, that's fine.
Then I just want smoke.
But,
you know what I mean?
But you and I are not the same person, though.
Yeah,
and everybody
I don't want
not
to be
like
the same person as you.
Same here. I don't
You know
want to. I don't want to be the same person as you, brother.
From then on out, Kevin was sneakily trying to antagonize Rampage.
But
Kevin,
everything's
you
not
think Rampage
funny.
is a funny guy?
Nah, this fool has temper tantrum problems.
Temper tantrum problem.
I think he's talking about the Ultimate Fighter and the door.
I don't know what.
That's like 10 years ago, Kevin.
It's
People
the same
evolve.
thing. Not really.
You don't think people evolve?
Some do. Not Jackson.
And the two even discussed fighting one another.
That's the last thing he want to do is fight me, though. That's the last.
Nah,
thing.
I still want to.
No, it's
I don't give a fuck about the fight on Saturday.
No, you don't want to fight. No.
I'm just being real.
I'm being real with you, young
right.
buck. You
I'm
don't
just
want to
letting
fight
you
me.
know.
I'm just letting you know.
This sounds good.
Sometimes people don't know what they want.
Yeah.
You don't want to fight me.
I feel like
sounds
Kevin,
good.
you have a very unique reputation. I'm throwing on one of the new Jakes ones.
Known for fighting everybody.
You're known for
and
fighting
anybody.
at all times.
Don't care who they are.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
And I do like the fact that
I'm the same way.
And you actually have to give credit to both Rampage and the podcast host Bear for eventually trying to de-escalate the situation, because earlier on in his career, this would have undoubtedly ended in a brawl.
I understood why Kevin Holland was mad at me. I understood why, because I guess he didn't like one of my jokes that I said about him and MVP over Instagram. So I understood that, the kid was cutting weight probably. It was, a couple of days before his fight. And honestly, at that time, Kevin Holland could have spit in my face and I wouldn't have done nothing because
Wow.
so close to his fight, you know what I'm saying? I respect what goes into being a fighter and stuff like that, and I would never want to jeopardize another fighter from earning a living or not make it to the fight.
Thankfully, in the end, the two squashed their beef and fist bumped one another. But that wasn't the end of the story. After the podcast and after Kevin Holland lost his next fight, Rampage found a sneaky way of getting back at him.
Like, what can I do to this kid to pay him back for, telling me to shut the fuck up on my podcast and all this shit? And I knew I wasn't going to beat him up. You can't solve everything with violence 100% of the time. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna be petty. I'm gonna get this kid back. So I dropped the diss song on his ass.
Was it as good as Kendrick's? I actually missed that song. I didn't hear it.
No, it's not as good as Kendrick's, but it's fun and it's a fun song.
There were AI clips of him beating up Holland, and the lyrics basically say he's a level above. After that, I don't think we'll see Kevin Holland on Rampage's podcast anytime soon.
Just telling him like what I've done in this sport and who I am and teaching him basically be careful who you talk to because you ain't on my level, son. Basically, that's what the song basically is about.
Oh, okay. Did he respond?
He was mad. He was pissed.
He was pissed.
We was cool until I made that song. Like we had hashed things up. Then I made the song, dropped the music video. Then he was like, "Fuck you, I don't fuck with you no more."
And months later, the drama has actually changed how Kevin Holland goes about doing media and podcasts now.
I haven't seen you do any interviews in the lead up to this fight. Was that an intentional thing, and why exactly?
Yeah, ever since the Jackson podcast interview, I really don't just do none of that shit anymore. It's like they kind of killed it for everybody. And speaking of that, they still owe me a couple grand, and they always do a bad job of paying me on the first of the month. They always pay like around like the 10th or something like that. I don't know if they having a money problem, but they need to do a better job paying me on time. So, future reference for all you guys that want to do interviews, I charge out the ass now. So, unless you're getting it this week, you ain't getting one.
While Kevin Holland is known for being outspoken, another sport has a certain stereotype for its athletes being tough guys. I'm talking about rugby. And when a group of rugby guys in the UK tried it with Rampage Jackson, it didn't go well. At the time, Rampage Jackson had just knocked out Chuck Liddell to become the UFC champion. It meant Rampage was quite literally one of the scariest men on the planet at that time.
He has the all-time greatest slam knockout ever.
Yeah.
All-time greatest.
And at a bar in the UK, some rugby guys decided to mess with him after Rampage told them to stop picking on a smaller guy he was with.
The last time I almost got in a big brawl, my first time going to the UK, and I was with Hans Monekamp and some fighters, and one fighter was real small. I was with Dean Lister too, and one fighter was real small. Long story short, these rugby guys were trying to bully us, and the biggest one was trying to fuck with the small guy. And I said, "Hey man, leave him alone, man." And he had no idea who he was. This was right after I fought Chuck, so I was UFC champion. He didn't know.
Rampage tried to be peaceful, but of course, the guy didn't expect someone to stand up to him.
Look here, let me buy you a beer so I don't have to beat your ass. And he looked at me because he thought I was gonna be scared because he was way bigger than me. He's like, "What? You buy me a beer so you don't have to beat my ass?" He thought it was funny.
Then later on, that same guy followed Rampage into the bathroom, most likely to continue being aggressive and perhaps even start a fight. But this guy would have 100% ended up in a hospital if it wasn't for his friend.
Long story short, I go to the bathroom and I'm pissing, and I'm from the streets of Memphis. I always watch my back, and I see him walking in the bathroom behind me, and I can see his silhouette out of the chrome on the toilet, right? And he started getting behind me. So I kind of slowly stopped pissing and get ready, to move when he go try to punch me. And then one of his teammates walk in, and he was like, "Rampage Jackson, what the f you doing here in England?" Then the guy was like, "Oh, you know him?" He was like, "You don't know who that is? He just knocked out Chuck Liddell. He's the baddest man on the planet right now."
The UFC was incredibly niche in the UK back in 2007, so for someone to recognize Jackson would have been somewhat rare. So basically, this random rugby player who thought he was tough got incredibly lucky that day.
Saved his life. He just said, because I was going to try to kill him. If he tried to attack me, I was going to try to kill him. Self-defense, Yeah. And maybe his teammate's going to jump in. I'm used to being jumped, and I'm not scared of it. And I go washing my hands. He come to me. He said, "Hey, you want to buy me that beer?" Now, man, you get the fuck out of my face.
But there's a running theme with Rampage Jackson. He absolutely hates when someone tries to physically intimidate someone else. So you can only imagine what he did to a bully who beat up his younger brother. The story goes that Rampage's brother, who's 2 years younger than him, came home one day saying he was attacked by a guy. Rampage may have had 2 years on the bully, but he was seriously outsized.
Who is your favorite bully you beat up?
Well, it was this one bully named TJ that used to beat up my little brother. And he was the same age as my little brother, 2 years younger than me, but the guy was twice as big as me.
Either way, Rampage, who presumably wasn't training any martial arts at the time, beat this guy up badly. But of course, that guy had older brothers of his own, so things were far from over. Clearly, this guy must have been tough in street fights, because his older brothers didn't believe that just one guy was able to beat him. So much so that they wanted to see it for themselves.
He got a lot of brothers, and they thought I used brass knuckles on him the first time I beat him up. So I had to kick his ass again like the next day.
Like in front of him, right?
Right in front of his brothers. And I was honestly thinking that his brother, I thought they was going to jump me. but they was older.
I would have thought so too.
Yeah, but they didn't. They wanted a fair fight because they thought I beat them up with brass knuckles. And then after that, they never f***ed me again, and then they never f***ed me again, and they never f***ed my brother.
And after the rematch and Rampage beat this guy up even worse than the first time, they learned their lesson. Rampage was concerned they may jump him altogether, but I guess back then there was some weird street fight code that people followed. Because in the end, they were fine with Rampage sticking up for his younger brother, and that was that. And on the topic of street fights, there's plenty more of those in Jackson's past.
No cap, I held my own, because the 2 guys, I f***ed them up. I'm not gonna lie, the 2 guys, I beat them up. 3 guys, I beat them up. But when it was 4, I still held my own, but it was so bad that they had to come back with guns the next day. I held my own. I grew up fighting in the street because I hated bullies, right? But people wouldn't fight me on one-on-one, so I was good at fighting 2 and 3 people. It didn't bother me.
It does make sense that after getting a bit of a reputation, people wouldn't want to fight Rampage one-on-one. But one-on-one, 2-on-1, even 4-on-1, Rampage was never out of a fight. And even later on in life, it didn't matter who it was. If you were out of line, he'd let you know. Just like the time Rampage Jackson put his actual son to sleep. Now both Rampage and his son didn't want to share the reason why they ended up fighting. Presumably it was something embarrassing for his son, but we do know how the fight played out.
We already got in a fight once.
Oh, really?
2 years ago?
Yeah.
He sucker punched me.
Well, I saw the slap.
How'd that go for you?
Was that that?
And what'd you do? Did you slam him on his head?
Oh, yeah, that motherfucker went to the hospital that day.
Yeah.
I don't play that shit.
And Rampage really wasn't joking when he said that. He said he beat him up, guillotined him, and when his son wouldn't tap out, he put him to sleep.
I felt bad about kicking his ass that day, and to this day, he's the only person I ever guillotined.
Oh my god!
I never get guillotined on nobody. I didn't want to keep punching him, so I guillotined him, and he wouldn't tap out. And
you put him to sleep?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because when he sucker punched me, he almost rocked me, and it was right by I got this 100-year-old door that turned to like a table.
Yeah, it's
like 200 pounds. If I would have hit my head, I would have died.
It turns out the sucker punch was a pretty good one, and bear in mind, Rampage's son is trained in MMA, 4-0 as an amateur, so it makes sense he has a pretty good punch. But he didn't sucker punch his dad that day. He sucker punched Rampage Jackson, the former UFC light heavyweight champion, and found out what's what the hard way. Thanks for checking out the video. If you enjoyed it, please go hit subscribe for us. We're looking to build a channel and a community for us MMA fans, and every extra subscriber helps us get one step closer. Thanks, and we hope to see you in the next video.